web series. I thought it would just be fun to say something relevant to the video. Specifically, animated web series. You've probably seen an animated web series on YouTube, or maybe even Newgrounds once or twice.
Hey, Steve. How you doing, Captain? Cock joke.
I mean, do I even need to introduce Ed's World?
What happened to the chairs? Tom sold them to a pirate.
Or Hell of a Boss. I really don't think that requires an introduction.
Someone wants that fucker dead, okay? And he paid in advance, and I spent it all on this. So he's gotta go!
But I've already made a fucking awful video on Hell of a Boss. I mean, you could barely even understand me, so we're not going to talk about that. No, today we're going to be talking about a web series that I was only recently introduced to by my friend. You may remember him from the Owl House video I made a little bit ago. We're going to be talking about Metal Family. Spoilers, by the way. I'm going to be talking about almost everything that happens in the show, so if you don't want to know what happens in the show, watch Metal Family and then come back to this video. You back? Good. Now, let's start off with the plot of Metal Family, and I think the show itself, like its title, does a good enough description of the plot. The plot is pretty much a family that likes heavy metal. The father of the family is Glam. That's not his real name. His real name is There isn't exactly an overarching plot to Metal Family, really. Instead, it focuses on the family and their lives and their struggles. But that don't mean we're gonna go without any emotional moments. But before we start that, there was another character I was supposed to, introduce you guys to, or else the plot won't make sense. He should have been here by now.
Hey, dudes, what's up?
Well, I'll be damned. That's Chive. Here's a fun fact about Chive. In the Russian series, his name was actually Chess. I don't know why they changed it, but Chive is pretty much childhood friends with Glam. And despite what the end credits of that episode may make you think, no, they did not burn Chive alive. Alright, now that I've told you a little bit about Chive, let's get into the first time we ever get introduced to an overarching narrative. And that is with episode 5, Box 37. In this episode, Glam's father has recently passed away, and Victoria and Glam have been invited to the will reading, where Victoria discovers that Glam's family is actually rich as fuck. Oh, and we also get introduced to Glam's sister, Lydia. She actually becomes important later, so I thought it would be, useful to bring her up too. And whilst everyone else there seems to have gotten something of high value, Sebastian appears to have been left with something until they discover that his dad actually did give him something. Box 37. You want to know what's in there, right? Right? Too bad, you're not going to find out until episode 10. Fuck you. Episode 6 is them doing an escape room, and whilst Dee and Glam do it pretty well, Victoria has more creative solutions. But then comes episode 7, Do You Play the Guitar? In which Dee discovers what I'm assuming is one of Glam's old acoustic guitars, and after trying to play it for hours, he eventually learns that Heavy is just 10 times better at this than him, so he enlists the help of Glam. Glam agrees to help Dee, and even lets Dee practice on his favorite guitar, Gibson. I learned that from watching the Q&A with Glam. And during this episode, Glam continues to get frustrated with D and his mistakes, eventually snapping at D and saying this.
I just want to be able to grab a guitar, head outside, and
show everyone you're a nobody guitarist, shaming yourself, shaming me?
Keep this in mind, it'll be important later. Episode 8 does the complete opposite of Episode 7. Instead of focusing on Glam and Dee's relationship, it instead focuses on Heavy and Victoria's relationship, where we pretty much learn that Victoria swindles people out of money with a girl named Anna. And then Episode 9 hits you like a freight train on steroids. Episode 9 delves deep into Glam's childhood and his backstory, or should I say it delves into Sebastian's childhood and backstory, where we get to see Sebastian's father teaching him how to play violin, and when he makes even the slightest mistake, he whips him with a ruler and says this.
This is how you plan to repay me? You show up for this exam, shaming yourself, shaming me?
See? Told you that would come back later. We also learn that he has no respect for his wife's input, considering the fact that they both agreed not to get a Smith & Wesson gun, and then he got the Smith & Wesson gun anyway. Also, that may worry you, but no, that's not what's in box 37. Wait a minute. What's that ringing? No.
So, I forgot my axe.
You motherfucker. I'm still angry at you.
Just because I stole your white Royal accident and sent it to the glitch thing place, you're gonna hold a grudge. I think that's just rude of you.
Yes!
Listen, I'm sorry. Sorry, I hate that word.
Fine, you can have your axe back.
Alright.
If you cover Metal Family with me.
Alright, since my axe is currently being held hostage, I'm now being forced to review a cartoon again. So where did he leave off? Alright, by the way, Invited Devil here. It's been a minute. Haven't made a video with this guy in a while. So after Sebastian gets whipped by Father of the Year, we learn that his room gets inspected every single night. Like he's in a boot camp. And he has to do some Uncharted Tomb Raider weird puzzle shit to hide his journal and his model city. Which is pretty cool. His contraption to actually get the city out of the floorboard is pretty awesome. Before he goes to sleep, we hear this. Concerning thoughts, to say the least.
What if you were chained to the bed? And sitting there across from it was a baseball bat rather than a ruler? Do you keep your composure? Or would your face be laden with fear? I would like to see him in such a hypocritical mask, stretched across his skull.
The next day, we see how Sebastian gets the butler Ralph angry at him for literally making him do his job. Which is so stupid. After we see that, we see Sebastian kick a light bulb into an alleyway so he can use the end of it for his model city. But then some mysterious figure takes it before he can grab it. What's he gonna do? Oh.
So this is yours? Sure, take it. It's fucking useless to me.
Wait, he's actually nice. Turns out the guy, who you might remember as Chai from the poker episode, is actually going to the same place Sebastian is going for the conservatory for their entrance exam, even though Chive is the opposite of professional. He's also one of my favorite characters. He actually manages to not only pass in the top tier, but he passes in first place, which is crazy. You can guess that Sebastian's dad isn't very happy about that, considering he's a perfectionist. But before he gets whipped by his dad, Chive gives Sebastian a record, and despite saying it's Bach, it actually turned out to be this band called Twisted Sister from the 90s. Jazzy, which I don't know if it's from the 90s, but I'm assuming it is. That's the end of episode 9. Now we go on to episode 10, where we get to see Sebastian, aka Glam now, acting more like the Glam we know and love from all the older episodes. So he acts like a complete and utter madman, like absolute fucking crazy.
We're not gonna take it! No! We're not gonna take it!
We also get to see him talk with Chive, and we get to see Sebastian not only so interested in Chive's music, but also actively wants to make that music, stealing a prized guitar, and also finally getting to see the factory portion after the years of isolation that his dad has put him through. So that's pretty nice. So he gets to do more of his model city, and so after that, Sebastian gets home, and his father gets drunk and whips him with a ruler until he's pouring blood out of his wrist. After that, Sebastian sneaks out, meets up with Chive over and over again, even starting a band, until one night, when their band is doing their first concert and the performance goes great. But when Sebastian gets home, everything is off.
How did the rehearsal go, son?
He discovers the little slip in his windowsill, and his father discovered everything. All the secrets, read through his journals, destroyed his model city, and also beat his daughter for good measure. He then gives Sebastian a choice to either stay in the family or leave and never come back. Sebastian chooses to leave, of course, because why wouldn't he? And states that his name is Glam and he's never going by Sebastian again, which thus leads us into the older episodes. It's kind of like a Lord of the Rings thing. The old is the new and the new is the old. And we finally end on Glam and Victoria walking into the sunset, leaving that model city and his asshole father behind. Now, what did I think of the plot? I thought it was pretty good. It was actually this is like one of my most favorite little animated YouTube series ever. I stumbled upon it one day, and I've loved it ever since, especially around, like, episode 5, with the little box start, 37 starts, right? So they definitely planned ahead, way ahead, because that was, like, 5-6 episodes after, when they started, like, upping production and upping quality. But the whole box 37 thing, where his model city was in, and then we see how petty Glam's father is, and then the thing where Glam is like, he gets angry at his son for not being able to have natural talent on music and instruments, which is basically shadowing his father's personality. But yeah, the plot was awesome, especially near the end of the first season. I'm very excited for season 2. Now we gotta go find that little hostage taking shit so he can tell you about the characters. Hey, could you, like, get in there and do your job?
One grabbed himself, the other shitted. Because of you two, later on
Everything's fine. This is a learning process.
Hey, everyone. I'm here to tell you about the characters. So, what did I think about the characters? I thought they were pretty good. Especially Chive and Glam. Like, the fact that they managed to tell you so much about, like, them in only a few episodes is honestly really impressive. Now, for the rest of the family, I thought they were all pretty good. I liked Dee and Victoria, and Heavy is kinda just there a lot of the time. But you know, all is forgiven with Heavy because he's a gamer. Also, I don't think Invited brought it up in the plot, like, section, but, like, both Dee and Glam are, like, super geniuses. Also, fun fact about Dee, he's apparently an MLP fan. I learned that from watching his Q&A. Now, one thing I find weird, but I can also understand because of the short episode run, is that Glam and Chive didn't really have much interaction in the modern day. Like, Chive is only in one episode before the flashbacks, And whilst Chive does seem to just be the generic hobo stoner character in the beginning, you get to see a lot of his development in character in the flashbacks, but you don't really see that translate to modern, which is a bit weird, but it's fine. It seems like he's gonna get a lot more development in Season 2, which, by the way, while me and Invited Devil were making this video, Season 2 got announced. This always happens. But yeah, anyway, most of the characters are great, and any of the characters who weren't particularly interesting typically just stay in one episode. So yeah, let's move on to the animation, shall we?
Sorry. Are you nuts, motherfucker? Ah, heavy, huh? What are you doing here?
Hello, Miss Anna. You haven't seen my mom, have you?
Haven't seen her? Yeah, she's the center of attention.
Alright, back in here to tell you about all the animation. So what was the animation like? Well, it was really impressive because unlike everything else that's been covered on this very amazing channel, there's no big team behind Metal Family. It's only a few animators, which really makes it impressive and cool to see how the animators improved from episode 1 to episode 10. It went from like a small pilot to something that was just like Disney level. Not Disney level, but you get what I mean. They did very good. And how they managed to animate it consistently, doing better than some professional companies. There's also a lot of smooth animation, especially in the late season, like late season 1. So yeah, to end this section off, the animation, pretty good, even amazing, as I would say. Almost as good as my Twitch, but you can follow me at, on Invited Devil 1986. I usually stream on weekends, Eastern time zone, around 7 to 8 o'clock. The schedule will be posted on the Twitch site.
Damn, right in my pants!
Well, you're the one scaring me. Where are you hiding here?
Hiding? I've waited an hour for you!
You said yourself we'll meet under the full moon. I waited for it to come out completely...
Midnight! I said midnight! Where is there even a full moon?
What do werewolves have to do with it?
I did what you asked. Can I have my fucking axe back now?
Alright, fine. You earned it. Now, before you go, what did you think of Metal Family?
I thought it was a great show with great writing, great animation, and somehow managed to be better than some shows on TV, which really surprised me.
I agree. And I also think you should follow Invited Devil on both Twitch and Twitter. Who did this to my script?
Well, looks like it's time to go. There's the hell emergency. Bye.